This is the Momentum Podcast.
What's up, everybody? I am here still in this rented Airbnb. We're looking out at this tennis court area here. It's kind of a nice view. And, you know, I was just sitting here and reflecting on the video that I did here on Facebook a few days ago. It's the video called Do Your Own Research. And today I was reading some of those comments and I realized that a lot of entrepreneurs maybe are feeling disempowered. A lot of entrepreneurs are maybe feeling frustrated. A lot of entrepreneurs are feeling like maybe there's not a lot of solutions here. There's not a lot of places to turn. And so I wanted to do this live to remind us of who we are, to remind us of what's going on today, and to reflect on history and to understand what can potentially happen here. See, here's what I believe about the world today. I think we are in a place where there is more conflict than I've ever experienced in my entire lifetime. You know, in my life, I've studied a ton of history and archaeology and the history of human beings and the history of decision making and the history of how we got to where we are today. And I think that today, you know, let me know if you agree with this. I think that today there is more conflict, more division, more frustration, more anxiety, more tension between human beings than there ever has been. I think as entrepreneurs, we need to have an awareness of what is going to solve the issue we're living in today. What is going to change this? See, here's what's happened throughout history. Throughout history, as human beings, we have been in positions that feel untenable. It feels like we can't fix them. It feels like we can't move things forward, like we're not going to be able to change things. And here's what's happened every single time in history. It feels like we're at the end of the road, like we can't go any further. An entrepreneur just like you and me has risen above the noise, identified an opportunity, grabbed hold of it, gotten into momentum, and taken us with them. And here's what I want you to know. You could be that entrepreneur. You could be that person that is going to change the world, that's going to move us in the right direction, that's going to change things. And here's why I'm bringing this up. Here's why I'm talking about this. You know, I feel like so many of us over the course of the past year, we've been told what to do. We've been told what not to do. Jesus, the people in authority have told us definitively to do one thing. 2 weeks later, definitively to do the other thing. 2 weeks later, definitively to do the other thing. It's so hard to even understand what a lack of leadership and such a vacuum of leadership we have in the world today. And as entrepreneurs, here's why I bring your attention to this. I bring your attention to the vacuum of leadership, to the lack of leadership, to the ridiculously poor leadership we have today. That can't figure things out, that can't give us a straight answer, that let's be real, the weakest form of leadership is leadership that tries to silence the other side of a conversation. I'm going to say it again. The weakest form of leadership, the most challenging form of leadership, the most dictatorial form of leadership is leaders who try to silence the other side of the story. True leadership is bringing the other side of the story out into the open. True leadership is teasing out the other side of the story so that you can show without a doubt you're a better alternative. True leadership is bringing the conflict and then calming down the conflict and moving it forward. True leadership is bringing all discussions and allowing all opinions and showing without a shadow of a doubt that you have the solution. But what do we have today? We're stuck with leaders who literally would rather silence conversations. We're stuck with leaders who are willing to tell us untruths on one day, but then implore us to believe what they said the next. And you know what's interesting about history, if you study enough of it, is that history has proven to us that over and over and over again, we have been deceived and told untruths and not been given the reality by the people in leadership. But the people in leadership today want us to believe they're not like that. They want us to believe they have it all figured out. They want us to believe that they're doing the right thing. And, you know, I think that as entrepreneurs, we need to question authority, question what's going on, make our own decisions, do our own research, and remember who we are. We are that tiny percentage of the population that gets up every morning. We travel into the future. We create a new reality. We come back to the present and demand it becomes real. And that is exactly the discipline that the world needs us to engage in today. We need to create a new reality. We need to change what's going on around us. We can't accept what we're being told by quote unquote leadership today. We need to make things happen. And so as a reminder, I'm going to do something that I haven't done, I think in 2 years, maybe 3 years. I have a podcast called the Momentum Podcast, and it's for entrepreneurs, and it's all about changing the world and building teams and creating organizations and creating your empire and creating your outcomes in the world. And I just want to remind everybody who we are. I'm going to read the introduction to this podcast. I'm going to read the manifesto to the Momentum Podcast out loud and live to remind you who we are and to remind you that I'm here to support you. And if you want to go over to momentumpodcast.com, we have episode after episode on helping entrepreneurs move forward and change the world. And we have an episode that we released this morning that I think a lot of you are going to be interested to hear. It's called Do Your Own Research. And it's the live that I put out, but it's in podcast form. And I think this one's going to make an impact on some people. So let me read my manifesto for you. This is for every entrepreneur out there who's frustrated. This is for every entrepreneur out there who's confused. This is for every one of you who are feeling anxious and frustrated and restless and agitated by what's going on in the world today. And this is for every one of you who believe you are part of the solution because you are. I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourself. I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, and rewrite them around our own will. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. I wrote that introduction years ago, and I think it's more appropriate today than it's ever been. And so if this meant something to you, if you're ready to be part of the solution, if you're ready to move things forward, if you are not willing to have your decisions made by other people and have people tell you what to do and tell you what you need to be and how you need to be, do me a favor. Tag someone who needs to share this, or tag someone who needs to hear this, share this, let everyone know we are part of this solution. We are part of what is going to change things. And as entrepreneurs, we can never forget that. The world needs us now more than it ever has. Thanks for being here with me.